People who have died and come back to life. What did you see? 1. My dad died for a couple of minutes around 2015. He said he was driving his truck on the freeway, no traffic, just cruising. He came to when he heard one of the doctors calling his name. 2. My grandmother, who none of us ever knew. She died in 1930. She told me to go back. I was in a coma for 2 weeks. 3. Overwhelming peace and happiness. A bright, airy and floating feeling. I live a very stressful life. Imagine finding out the person you have had a crush on reveals they have the same feelings for you and then you win the lotto later that day. That was the feeling I had. 4. My dad's heart stopped when he had a heart attack and he had to be brought back to life. He kept the paper copy of the heart monitor which shows he flatlined. He said he felt an overwhelming sensation of peace, like nothing he had felt before. 5. My sister died and said it was extremely peaceful. She said it was very loud like a train station and lots of talking and she was stuck at this area that was like a curtain with lots of beautiful colors. Colors that you don't see in real life according to her. A man told her he was sorry, but she had to go back as it wasn't her time. 6. I was in a gray fog with a girl who looked a lot like a young version of my grandmother, who was still alive, but dressed like a pioneer in the 1800s. She didn't say anything but kept pulling me towards an opening in the wall. I kept refusing to go because I was so tired. I finally got tired of her nagging and went, and that's when I came to. I had bled out during a C-section and my heart could not beat without blood. They had to deliver the baby, and sew up the bleeders, refill me with blood before they could restart my heart, so, at least 12 minutes gone. 7. Not my story, but I think about it a lot. Years ago I knew a guy who was working at a theater in New York in the 90s. Someone broke in to rob the place and stabbed him in the neck. If I remember true, he was clinically dead for something like 9 minutes before being resuscitated. He told me he felt his consciousness slip into an alternate universe where he didn't die, that he did not make it in his original world and now lives here. You could chalk that up to a lot of things, of course, but the eeriest part was his absolute and almost casual surety of it. When I asked a follow-up, it wasn't a matter of that's what I believe, it was that's what happened. I often find myself wondering if any of us ever really die and we're not just falling through the multiverse. 8. Nursing in the ICU. We've had people try to die on us many times during the years, some successfully. One guy stood out to me. His heart stopped. We called a code, are working on him, and suddenly he comes to. We hadn't vented him yet, so he was able to talk, and he started screaming, "Don't let them take me, don't let them take me, they are coming." He was scared and yelling. Then he yelled a little more. As we tried to calm him down, he screamed, "No, no," and gestured towards the end of the bed, and died again. We didn't get him back. It was seriously creepy. We called his son to tell him the news, and the son said basically, "Good." He was a sob. 9. My grandmother was near death for months. All the hospice nurses and we, family, were amazed at how she was still mentally sharp and hanging on overall. But for all those months, she kept telling me how she was having these horrible dreams of people at the foot of her bed. She didn't see their faces. They were just figures. Sometimes they would grab at her and want to take her somewhere. Sometimes she would ask them questions, but they wouldn't answer. She became afraid of going to sleep. So, I'd often stay with her so she could hold my hand if she got scared. All her hospice nurses said that seeing people or a patient talking about taking a trip was common. But usually, these figures brought on a sense of peace. But my grandmother was genuinely terrified of the figures. I always wonder if she's okay. 10. I have a near-death one. My grandmother in Mexico is old and she was in the hospital getting treated for her dementia. We were with her and she was not remembering anything. Then out of nowhere she looks at the door window and stares. She tells the door in Spanish, "No, not me, not yet. Get the girl in the next room instead." I'm not going. Next thing you know there's a code in the next room and the girl died sometime later. We didn't know who was in the rooms around us. We think she saw La Muerte, essentially the Grim Reaper in Mexican culture. And then she was back to her dementia self. Crazy.